Vasudevaya Priyaya Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Radhe Devi Satyavachaya Namo Namaha. Jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Goody boy. Your promise to be respectful obeisances and to all the devotees of the Lord. For just like the desire trees, fulfill the desires of everyone, full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai, Vanchikapati Vishja, Kripa Sindhu Vyevaja, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Check. Hare Krishna. There's some nice bugs on there.
I didn't see it, but actually.
Thank you for your bugs. All right. Okay. Starting today, we're going to be cracking down on the sadhana of everybody. As they say in Chinese laundry, no tikkie, no shirty. Translate that to no sadhana, no prasad. Yeah. So we're gonna start this here with all the residents. Breakfast, yeah, they can eat later in the day. Let them eat cake, as Marie Antoinette said. Okay, let me just check to make sure we're online. Okay, let me just check to make sure we're online. Okay. All right, we will start. There's a little noise in the background of it. Anyway, it's tolerable. That's the verse, right? And that's the temperature, too. Jai Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhova Kunya Bihari Gopinana Vallabha Iri Varanati Gopinana Vallabha Iri Varanati Yasudanana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasudanana Braja Jana Ranjana Ravanachari Yamunatera Panachari Jai Ho Radha Amadava Kunja Bihari Jai Ho Radha Umanova Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Iri Balo Daho Dvi Gopijana Balaba Iri Baladhari Yasudanandana Rajajanarandana Yasudanandana Rajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Ho Radha Umadava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhuva Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya also Tada Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Mara Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopakapanath Shyam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagadadha Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we are reading today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 24th chapter, text 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukuvacha Kalatmana Bhagavata Shakra Darpa Shikhang Saya Proktang Nishamya Nandadhyaha Sadhu Agrinhanta Tadvachaha Shri Shukuvacha Kalatmana Bhagavata Shakradarpa Jighangsaya Proktang Nishamya Nandadhyaha Sadvri Grinanta Tadvachaha Shri Shukuvacha Kalatmana Bhagavata Shakradarpa Jighangsaya Proktam Nishamya Nandadhyaha Sadvagrinanta Tadvachaha Shri Shukuvacha Kalatmana Bhagavata Shakra Darpa Jighangsaya Proktang Nisamya Nandadhyaha Sadvagrinanta Tadvachaha. Okay. 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 Shri Shukuvacha, or Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Kala Atmana, manifesting as the force of time, Bhagavata, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chakra of Indra, Darpa, the pride, Jighong Seha, with a desire to destroy, Proktam, what was spoken, Nishamya, hearing, Nandaha Dayaha, Nanda and the other elder cowherd men, Sadhu, as excellent, Algrinanta, they accepted. Tat vachaha, his words. Translation, Shukadeva Goswami said, Lord Krishna, who is himself powerful time, desired to destroy the false pride of Lord Indra. When Nanda and the other senior men of Vrindavan heard Sri Krishna's statement, they accepted his words as proper. So you can repeat. Shukadeva Goswami said, Lord Krishna, who is himself powerful time, desired to destroy the false pride of Lord Indra. When Nanda and the other senior men of Vrindavana heard Sri Krishna's statement, they accepted his words as proper. So there's no purport by the servants of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, but there are commentaries by the Acharyas. So first we're going to read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. All right. Bhagavan, addressed as Kalatma, the force of destruction, indicates that he would destroy the sacrifice to Indra. Hearing the words of the Lord Kalatma, who desired to destroy the pride of Indra, Nanda and the coward men accepted his proposal. So then you have Jiva Goswami's commentary. Krishna, who sets time and motion, upon whom everyone is dependent, spoke. Because everyone is dependent on him, they accepted his words, or because he was so powerful, he made Indra's pride insignificant. Or when sacrifice for Indra is performed, Krishna sets that sacrifice in motion, and now he stopped it. By his desire, everything happens. Who can oppose his desire? Or Krishna, who has a black kala body, spoke. He controls everyone by his beauty, what to speak of using his words. Or Krishna, whose nature is to attract, kalayati, the whole world spoke. Thus it is not surprising that they accepted his words. Though Indra was worshipped, his pride was most disrespectable, since he saw the cowards as material and saw Krishna as a material being in relation to them. Oho Shrimada Mahatmyam Gopanam Kananokasam Krishnam Arjam Upashritya Yechakrur Devahelanam. Just see how these coward men living in the forest have become so greatly intoxicated by their prosperity. They have surrendered to an ordinary human being, Krishna, and thus they have offended the gods. That's from the Bhagavatam 10th Canto, 25th chapter, text 3. Because Krishna knew this, he wanted to curb his pride. It is said that Indra became angry. If he had no pride, he would not have become angry, but would have shown fear. And because of that anger, he wanted to create lots of trouble for the cowards. And Sanatana Goswami, it's not that long, we can read it. It says, Krishna, who sets time and motion, upon whom everyone is dependent, spoke. Because everyone was dependent on him, they accepted his words, similar to Jiva Goswami. Because he was so powerful, he made Indra's pride insignificant. Or when sacrifice for Indra is performed, Krishna sets that sacrifice in motion. And now he stopped it. So this is basically the same thing, but there's a little more here. They accepted the words Vachaha of Krishna, who was most affectionate and dear, Tat, who had the highest meaning, Sadhu. I'm skipping part of his commentary. Or they agreed and said, very good, Sadhu. Or they accepted his words wonderfully with great enthusiasm and affection. So again, we'll read the Sanskrit. Wait a second. Shishukuvacha kalatmana bhagavata Shakradarpa jikhangsya proktam nishamya nandadyaha sadvakri nanta tad vachaha. So, Om Gana Timirandasya Gadanjana Shlakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So here the topic today is about pride, false pride, not real pride. Krishna has real pride, like Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, Matak Sarvam Pravartate, right? Everything comes from me, you know. Krishna makes these statements. It's not false. It's true. He actually is everything that he says, and even more so. Mayatatamitam sarvam jagata vyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutani naham teshravastita. By me and my unmanifested form, I pervade everything. I'm in everything, and I'm not in everything simultaneously. So Krishna makes all these statements. I was listening to a class, or let's say a conversation that Prabhupada had with some people in Mexico this morning. And they were bringing up the point that they thought God's name was I am. It was an interesting discussion. They said God says in the Bible, I am. But actually, he doesn't just say I am. He says, I am that I am. In other words, basically reading, if you're actually intelligent, I am everything. I'm the Lord. It's not that his name is I am. So Prabhupada was having, it was basically an argument with these people. Probably some of you heard this class. It's quite interesting. And they said, yeah, God says I am. And they said, no, Prabhupada said, I am too, but it's what are you? It's funny. You're I am. Prabhupada would say, you're I am, I'm I am, he's I am, she's I am. But what are you? And so they take one particular statement that's mistranslated out of context. And this was in Spanish, so it was a double mistranslation. And they don't understand that God also says, in the Ten Commandments, I'm the Lord thy God, right? He used the same expression. Who brought thee out of the house of bondage, out of Egypt. I'm your Savior. So everybody is I am. But unfortunately, in this world, we are thinking, Ishvara aham. There's the word aham. Aham means I am. Like we have in the verse I just quoted, aham sarvasya prabodhamata sarvam pravartite. Everything comes from me. Everything emanates from me. So, also this word is used in the chapter in divine and demoniac natures. It's the demon's Gayatri mantra. Ishwaroham aham bogi siroham balavan sukhi. So what does that mean? Ishwaroham. I'm the controller. And each one of us thinks like that. And we get frustrated when things are not under our control. You know, it happens sometimes with me too. You know, I go out and look at the temple and things are not happening. People are not listening. We get frustrated and angry. Of course, there's a proper application of anger, but it has to be done with a cool head. So you say, how can you be angry with a cool head? I mean, just like if one is a soldier and fighting, you could be angry, but you also have a cool head. You can't be like the people who are in Vietnam who are shooting their commanding officers. What's it called? Fragging? Fragging. That's it's called fragging. I wasn't there, fortunately. Their commanding officer, you have to have a cool head. You know, a sniper, for example. Yes, he can be angry at the enemy, but he has to have a very cool head. He can't just be uncontrolled. So, Ishwaraham, each one of us is thinking that we're just like little, we're not thinking little, but we're thinking where Ishwar is controlling. I'm going to master my destiny. I'm controlling my life. Like that. Ooh, I'm going to make the solutions to all my problems. Ishwaraham, aham bogi. And I am, the bogi? I am the enjoyer. And of course, Krishna also says he's the bogi too, in the Bhagavad Gita. Doesn't he? Bhakturam jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam yatvamam shanti richati, 529. He says, I'm the bogi, Bhakturam jagatapasam. I'm the enjoyer. He's basically saying the same thing. And we're saying Ishwaraham aham bogi, and Krishna is saying also aham bogi. It's interesting contrasting these two. Ishwaraham aham bogi, siddhoham. And Krishna is also saying I'm powerful too, you know. I'm powerful. And powerful means like I control things too. It's part of this Ishwara, you know, being the controller. Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha
Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karanam. Like Krishna is the supreme controller. So, Siddho Ham Balavan Sukhi. Siddho. I'm also perfect. The whole problem with the GBCs, they don't listen to me. The whole problem with ISKCON is that, I know better. Siddho, I'm perfect in every single way. And if I do something that you think is wrong, you are right. You are wrong, not me. Siddhavan Balavan, powerful. I am powerful. I exercise every day, Like you see that there was this boxer, Muhammad Ali, and I am the greatest. I am powerful. And the devotees met him in the airport a few times after he had been a boxer, when he got a little older, and he was just basically had brain damage and basically couldn't pronounce his own name. So, Balavan, I am powerful. Well, you had this one person who was very famous. He actually swam across the English Channel towing a boat behind him. People get into all these powerful things. Or there was this lady I just read about who went under the ice for 8 minutes. She swam under the ice. She felt so good about herself. You get up there and you just whoo. But actually in this verse, it's interesting. Let me get back to the verse for a second, because there's an interesting word here. Darpa, of course, is pride. But then you have Kala Atmana. By the force of time, all of our strength, intelligence, everything, pride gets taken away. I mean, so this is a really interesting point. Actually, it's also said by Grandfather Bhishma. So, what's the Sanskrit on that again? Anyway, about kala, or time. And Krishna, of course, says to Arjuna that I am time, when Arjuna sees the universal form, and I've come to engage everybody and destroy everything. So this is the time factor. It destroys everything. So, Iswaraham Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi. Oh, I left out the final portion. I am happy. When in fact, because you're struggling with the manasak stani indriyani prakriti stani karshati, you're struggling with the 6 senses in the mind. People are struggling with the mind. There was another conversation Prabhupada had, I was listening to, with a psychiatrist. And Prabhupada actually indicated, because the psychiatrist asked the question, it was in Mexico, so it was a translation, that about the physiological causes, I'm paraphrasing, the physiological causes of mental illness. And Prabhupada actually turned that around and started talking about, chemical causes, which actually is true of mental illness. Prabhupada was talking about how one's attachment to the body. And he talked about a similar example of one I always give. He said, if you're attached to your car and something happens to your car, then you have psychological problems. So it's interesting. So of course, when we talk about bodily attachment, we're also talking about extended bodily attachment, too. Not just, this body, but things connected to the body, like, my little jumper. You call it jumper here in America? No, you don't. You call it whatever you call it. But in Australia and New Zealand, they call it a jumper. It's interesting. In India, too, isn't it? They call it jumper. Yeah, very British. It's because I spend so much time with people who come from Great Britain, in Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. I tend to use some of their words. So, we attached to that. I'm attached to my seat here. I'm attached to my computer. I'm attached to my family. I'm attached to my conceptions of life. So the point, all these things are actually components of pride. Thinking it's interesting, you talk about the components of pride. Thinking yourself the enjoyer, the proprietor, the powerful, able to do things, independent. You can actually do a whole analysis of pride. And so when one is subject to these things, one nunam pramata kurute vikarma yadindriya pritya apranoti, one becomes mad and does crazy things, just like Indra here. Indra, basically, he knows better. Why is this? Because previous to this, he had a nice younger brother, right? Upendra, Vamanadev. He's not dumb. He's not he's not just like a demon. It's not like Aranyakashipu or Aranyaksha. He knows better. He's had plenty of instruction. But he keeps making these mistakes because he has this pride in being Ishwaraham Aham Bhogi Siddhabham Balavan Sukhi. And not only this mistake, we can talk about other mistakes Indra has made. Just like, oftentimes I tell the story from the Ramayana, because we were talking about Lord Ram, how Indra came down and he saw this beautiful girl, Ahalya, and who is married to Gautama Rishi, and he just thought, I'm the controller. I can do anything I want. Not taking into account this Rishi is very powerful. Rishis are more powerful than demigods, actually. So he comes down. Yeah, they are much more powerful because they can destroy a demigod. So anyway, so he comes down. He sees this beautiful girl, Ahalya. She is extremely attractive. Of course, I don't remember. But anyway, she's very attractive. And then he thinks, I gotta have her. I'm Indra. Doesn't take into account, what's going to happen to him. He throws caution, as they say, to the wind. And he waits until Gautama Rishi leaves the ashram and he goes to take a bath. And Indra's able to do shape-shifting. He's able to turn himself into whatever he wants to look like. So he turns himself into a replica of Gautama Rishi. And so he says to Ahalya, here I am, sweetie. And he has a relationship with her. And of course, she knows. She's also guilty. So it's not that this poor girl was unfairly, she knows the difference between her husband. Wives know the difference. Even if someone else comes in the same guise, they know the difference, and they're responsible. Just like that Padmavati. She had a relationship with Dramila. Not the Dramila we know, sorry. And as a result, Kamsa was born, right? Interesting story. But she was a little touched in her head, according to the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So in this case, anyway, getting back to the story of Ahalya, so they have a relationship. Indra's thinking, yeah, I'm Indra. And he comes out, and who does he encounter? But the real Gautama Rishi. So, I was just checking things out here, wasn't doing anything wrong. Yeah. Gautama Rishi does a double take. He looks and he says, and he understands. He's a sage. He understands. This is Indra. And, everyone looks guilty. His wife looks guilty. Ahalya looks guilty. Indra looks guilty. And Gautama Rishi, he says to Indra, hey, that's the last lady you're going to have for a long time. And he basically emasculates him, to use a nice word. Poor guy. Poor Indra. And that's probably one of the worst things that can happen to someone who is, who is actually attached to their masculinity, pride. Also, Arjuna, he actually became Brihanala. And that was pretty embarrassing for him, too. And other people made fun of him, like Duryodhana made fun of him in the Mahabharata. Hey, you were a eunuch. You were feminine. So anyway, so even those days they had cross-dressing. Anyway, so Gautama Rishi emasculates in a real sense, not just in his words, but, really, physically, Indra. And Indra's left there, no more testosterone. And so Indra has to make an arrangement. It's really embarrassing. He has to make an arrangement for a transplant for some rams or something like that to again become. It's really embarrassing. Just like Prabhupada talked about how old men, they would arrange for like monkey glands. There were monkeys actually being kidnapped from Vrindavan for that purpose. They'd kidnap them, not kidnapping, with monkeys, sorry. It's not really kidnapping. They would trap the monkeys, and they'd take out their glands and implant them in someone else. Some old man who really want to enjoy it. That's before Viagra was present. And so Prabhupada said they would take the glands out of one monkey and put them into another monkey. So anyway, getting back to the story of Indra, so Indra really got embarrassed. Oh, because Ahalya also, she became disincarnate. Now I know in the movie it shows her becoming a stone, but that's not really what the Valmiki Ramayana shows or tells. In the Valmiki Ramayana, she actually becomes disincarnate like a ghost. And later on, Ram comes and frees her from that particular predicament. And then she rejoins her husband and they live happily ever after. So you find so many instances where this pride arises in Indra. Another one that comes to mind is a story from the Bhagavatam, where Indra is sitting there, with on his throne with Sachi, his wife. That's his wife's name, Sachi. And I guess she's right next to him on his lap, and then his guru walks in. And he doesn't do anything. He doesn't even say, "Hi, Guru Maharaj," Guru Dev, whatever, Brahaspati. And then Brahaspati just leaves, and then Indra becomes bereft of everything. You see, it's a continual story with Indra. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, there's that other story that he throws the garland, he puts the garland from Durvasa Muni on his elephant, and the elephant tramples it, Aravata, and the elephant tramples it. You got all these stories about Indra doing these things because he had so much opulence and so much control. And, of course, this is very much in line with Queen Kunti's prayer, right? Janmaishvarya Shrutasya Shribiradam Anata Ada Puman. When one is accustomed to having a lot of control, power, or intelligence, or beauty, or handsomeness, then it goes to one's head. One gets bewildered. I mean, really, it's, a poverty-stricken man doesn't get so bewildered like that as a rich man does. Or someone with more intelligence gets more bewildered than one who doesn't have so much intelligence. I mean, we're talking about, like, crazy bewildered. So Indra is like that. And another story, of course, resident of the higher planets is Daksha. Daksha is there, and he's performing this sacrifice. Very intelligent guy, performing a sacrifice. And look, he doesn't stand up to receive Lord Shiva. He's very proud. Or Lord Shiva doesn't stand up to receive him. And anyway, and then you have so many stories of these people who are like intelligent, performing sacrifices, and they just have no etiquette. They have no etiquette because of their assets, their material assets. So what does that mean? That means that if we have some material assets, whether it's money, whether it's beauty, whether it's whatever, that we have no chance of becoming Krishna conscious? No, it doesn't mean that. It means we need some training. That's what Krishna consciousness is. Krishna consciousness, brahmachari, what is it, gurukule, vasandanta gorohitam. That means one has to make his life a service for the spiritual master. Like that contrasts with what Indra did, where Indra, he ignored his guru when his guru came in. But one has to make his whole life, brahmachari gurukule, make his home a place of the spiritual master, vasandanta, and become, in this way, become tame. Why does one become tame? To please someone else. And this is the process of bhakti. Without that concept of devotion, then there's no impetus, ultimately, to control one's senses. You have to have a reason for doing what you're doing, for controlling your senses. And then one can't become humble. Then one won't be able to chant the holy names of the Lord properly, just like we're chanting or chanting every morning, Trinada Pisa Vichena, Torota Pisa Hishana, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtiniya, Siddhahari. One has to be more tolerant in the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, we're going to chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So that's the secret to chanting attentive japa, is actually understanding that you're a servant. Brahmachari gurukule vasandanta gororhitam, working for the benefit of the spiritual master. Whatever has kept me in Krishna consciousness, it's that particular concept, working for his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it, but it's just the concept of my mind, the vision, the mission statement, like that. Not that I am the enjoyer of devotional service. I'm meant to enjoy. I am enjoying, because by bhakti you actually enjoy. Because what's the real enjoyment in this world is, or in the spiritual world or anywhere, is to have loving exchanges and reciprocal loving exchanges. Other things come and go, like you eat, and you forget about what you ate like 10 minutes ago, isn't it? Because hopefully you didn't eat 10 minutes ago, or you're not eating during the Bhagavatam class. Sometimes we're doing these Zoom conferences and people are eating during the Zoom conferences. They can't, even during some of the seminars we give, there's eating going on. Anyway, I'm not criticizing. But you eat, and the enjoyment you got is where? 10 minutes later. Where is it? It's gone! Well, no, not 10 minutes later. Then then you're sick. You're a rogi. Like Prabhupada said, yogi, bogi, rogi. You're a rogi, you're a sick person. The enjoyment is gone. I'm talking about the enjoyment, not the physiological function. It's gone. Just like Krishna says in the Gita, such pleasures have a beginning and an end. And the wise does not delight in them. But still, we're delighting in temporary things, Any other sorts of sense pleasure, you go to Disney World, or you get on a roller coaster, or you see your beloved, whatever. And it's just like, has a beginning and an end. But the bhakti process of trying to please Krishna and the spiritual master, it's just endless. It goes on forever and ever and ever, and it gets better and better and better. It goes on when, if you're actually Krishna conscious, it goes on when you're sleeping, you dream about serving Krishna. When you wake up in the morning, you look, that's the nice thing also about having a schedule or being regulated. People often comment, it's time to end, that I'm very regulated, because that helps fix my mind on Krishna. So I wake up in the morning, I know what I'm going to do, and it's all based on Krishna. I'm going to come to the well, I'm going to take a bath first, but and I'll come to the temple. You know, so everything is just when you're regulated like that. But when you get unregulated, then it's really hard to connect everything you do with Krishna, unless you're on the spontaneous platform of devotional service. And that's the benefit of bhakti, of the sadhana bhakti or vaidhi bhakti. So I think we have to end that work. So thank you very much. Don't become like Indra.
Yeah, I was going to When you did it on this plane, you'd be going to jail.
Yeah.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Aravindanalayataksam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Asa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Radhe, Radhe, Govinda, Govinda, Radhe, 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 Govinda, Govinda, Radhe. Radhe, Radhe, Govinda, Govinda, Radhe, 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 Govinda, Govinda, Radhe. Radhe, Radhe, Govinda, Govinda, Radhe, 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 Govinda, Govinda, Radhe. Radhe, Radhe, Govinda, Govinda, Radhe, 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 Govinda, Govinda, Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, looking at the Radha, looking at the Radha. Jaya Radha, looking at the Radha, looking at the Radha. Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha. Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravidikacharya, also Teta Satyashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Savaya, Jananana Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Sidvaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Gopi Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Machuranam Ki Jai, Jagadata Swami Ki Jai, Munamaya Ki Jai, Srimati Lasadeva Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Yeah. Pretty crowded. Did you